R&B diva, Rhona Bennett. She's up next. Let's talk. What's up, everybody out there? How you doing? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another video over here at Pepe's Point of View. I'm your host, your R&B historian, Pepe. And today we're talking about R&B diva Rhona Bennett. So that's right. Get my guest on the phone. Get Rhona Bennett on the phone and let her know that we're talking about her over here at Pepe's Point of View, and we're talking about her in a way that we've never talked about her before, and it's going to be good. As a matter of fact, I think it's safe to say you can get Rodney Jerkins on the phone as well, because maybe his name might come up in here. I'm pretty sure that it will come up in this particular episode of Pepe's Point of View. All right, because I am so excited. I'm so excited. I cannot hide it. I am about to lose control, and I think I like it. Yes, Rhona Bennett of En Vogue, Rhona Bennett of the Jamie Foxx Show, Rhona Bennett of Disney Channel's The All New Mickey Mouse Club, Rhona Bennett, Zeta Phi Beta, Rhona Bennett, Homeboys in Outer Space, Rhona Bennett. Yes, the First Lady of Dark Child. Rhona Bennett has new music out, and I am loving it. Yes, she has a new single out, and I discovered this because it just popped up on my social media page. I'm just scrolling down, and all of a sudden I hear, or rather read, that Rhona Bennett has a new single out, We a Powerful Thing. It is her latest single. The album, Instant Classic, is coming soon. I'm looking forward to it. And if the album is anything like the first single, you guys, I think we're in for a good ride. I really and truly do. It's wonderful. For me, what I do over here pretty much is that I go back and I listen to my R&B divas music, all right? I listen to the music, and then from the music, all I do is that I just think about what I was feeling at the time, what was going on with me at the time, And, I listen to the music, and then from that, I just kind of, just go with the flow, maybe read a couple of things here and there, but for the most part, I really don't need to do that, right? And so that's pretty much what we're doing here. But when I say I'm going to talk about Rhona Bennett in a way that I've never talked about her before, let's get in here and let's talk. And as I said, hopefully, we can get Rhona Bennett on the phone. But all jokes aside, when Rhona Bennett now has been a part of En Vogue for, oh gosh, how long has Rhona Bennett been a part of En Vogue? She's been a member of En Vogue for a minute, hasn't she? Let's see. All from, let's just say, from 2012 all the way up till now. All right. She's been a part of En Vogue. So what? We're in 2024. So that means right now she's been a part of the group, consistently for 12 years now, right? And then you add another, 2 years to that. That gives us about 16. Then you add another 2 years to that, right? So let's say 18 years. She's been a part of Involve for about 18 years now. So I am going to say that let us now just set aside Rhona Bennett being a new member of this group. She has really and truly been a part of the group for a long time. Let's just say she's approaching 2 decades. I think it's enough for us to stop saying she is a new member. But what I'm going to do today is, as I said, I'm going to talk about Rhona Bennett in a way that I've never talked about her before. And when I heard this single, I have to really, truly, like, as I said, be honest and just go with the flow. Because Rhona Bennett has been such a part of In Vogue, and I like to think that she's now, for me, it's just for me, this is me talking, that she's an official In Voguer, right? I think it's safe to say that she has the spot, if you will, that she hasn't taken anyone's place. She hasn't really replaced anyone, because I think for us diehard In Vogue fans, then we know that we do like our original four. But when I heard that she was releasing new music, I was just as excited as I was when I heard okay, for those of you guys who know me, you know that when the first time seeing In Vogue on Soul Train. So for me, I remember being in the living room with my aunt, and In Vogue was on Soul Train, performing Hold On. And my aunt was speaking to a friend of hers in our community, in our neighborhood. She was speaking to a friend of hers over the phone, and both of them were talking about, hey, the ladies of In Vogue, they're on Soul Train, right? So we were all excited, so on and so forth. And my aunt, she's in, okay, yes, that's right. She was in high school at the time. So my aunt was in high school. And so I don't know, I could have been, I don't know, maybe going into junior high school, possibly, but anyway. And I remember her friends saying to her classmates saying to her, I have the cassette. I have, the album. And my aunt telling me to go over to her friend's house, her classmate's house, to get the cassette and bringing the cassette back and listening to the cassette. And yes, I'm sorry, I have to say I did bootleg the album right then and there, because I wanted to have a copy for myself. But of course, you guys already know that I'm the one who's going to go out and get the real one, so that was just for me to get my fix real quick. Right, but I was excited, about In Vogue, seeing the ladies of In Vogue on Soul Train, and just excited to receive, the album, to get the album. I was excited that what I heard over the radio and what I saw in the video was replicated on Soul Train. I was like, okay, this here is no joke. Like, these ladies are definitely the real thing. And I am feeling the same way about Rhona Bennett's new single. I'm also feeling that way about Rhona Bennett just being a part of In Vogue. And as I said before, we're talking about Rhona Bennett today in a way that we've never talked about Rhona Bennett before, because in the past, what I've done, or rather probably what we've all have done, being, fans of In Vogue, being diehard fans of In Vogue, we've always talked about the original four, and how, some of us like Rhona Bennett being in a group, some of us don't like Rhona Bennett being in a group. We want the original four back, so on and so forth. But here's what I would challenge people to do today. For those of you, and this is what I had to do today, and for me, I don't mind checking my own self, like after a while, I have to, well, let me just put it this way. Go do your research. Go do your research on Rhona Bennett. If you have just looked at Rhona Bennett as someone who just all of a sudden showed up and in vogue, and let's say she replaced a member or she was a member going back and forth, then you really and truly haven't gotten the essence, the full essence of Rhona Bennett. And I think that we all should do that right now. I think this is the perfect time for us to really and truly show some support uh, for Rhona, and let's really and truly give this single, the attention that it needs, and also let's give Rhona Bennett the attention she needs, and let's make the underdog the top dog. All right, I'm always for the underdog. That's why I was rooting so hard for Maxine back in the day, because don't y'all get it twisted. And like as I said, I didn't want to talk about it this way, but you guys out there were hating on Maxine as well. Go ahead on and just be truthful about it. And I think for the most part, I was the only one who really was rooting for Maxine. And now all of a sudden it seems like it's okay. Everyone, is pretty much accepting Maxine. And, I was the only one who, for the most part, was talking about Maxine singing the low parts in the group and how we missed it and how that was the in vogue sound. But let's not go there. Because this is not about, the other members of In Vogue. This is about Rhona Bennett. So I challenge you guys to go out and listen to Rhona Bennett's album. Do that. Go out and listen to her album. I want you to, because we're going to be talking about Rhona Bennett's album as well. And we're going to talk about what happened, what has come of Rhona Bennett. All right, her first album, Rhona, released June 20th, 2001, and then she had an unreleased album, The Anticipation of R&B, that was scheduled to be released in 2010, but it never came to fruition. But we're talking about Rhona Bennett today because what I heard with her debut album, Rhona, I'm like, whoa, we are missing something. We are missing something, and we need to not Rhona. I think the fans of In Vogue, and just in general, and hopefully with this new single, she'll get more support and more fans or more followers. I would say it that way, because I think it's time for us to embrace Rhona Bennett. Whew. So let me slow down for a minute, you guys, because we're about to go for a ride. If I had to ask Rhona Bennett some questions right now, listening to this single, the first thing I would have to ask Rhona, that most people, I haven't heard them ask, but I don't really watch a lot of interviews nowadays. I don't, since I do my own. So I don't watch a lot. But I know back in the day when Rhona first started the group, it was always about her being a new member. What does she bring to In Vogue? She would usually say something like consistency. She's consistent. But it's time for us to talk more about what Rhona Bennett brings to In Vogue besides consistency. But I want to talk about Rhona Bennett in this way. So the first question I have for Rhona Bennett would be, after listening to this single, I stopped and I said to myself, whoa, this sounds a lot like In Vogue, this single. That's the first thing that came to my mind. This sounds a lot like In Vogue. Then, as I was listening to it, and we're talking about the new single, We a Powerful Thing, and then I was saying to myself, I was like, wow. I said, yeah, Cindy Herron, she would definitely eat this song up. I don't know why I was getting a lot of In Vogue and Cindy Herron flair from this single. Then it led me to ask the question in my head, and I had to ask myself this question. So I'm asking it now, to Rhona. And I'm saying, Rhona has been a part of Invo for such a long time now that we have to stop and think, what has Rhona Bennett learned from being a member of In Vogue? Oh my gosh. I think that's a question. I think it's a valid question. What has she learned from being a member of In Vogue? Woo. And I say this because when Rhona Bennett was a part of that tribute, or was it some kind of tribute or whatever to Sylvia Rhone, and it was the five of them. It went from EV4 to EV5 for a second, and there were some people who were discussing that Rhona Bennett kind of was not in sync vocally with the other ladies of In Vogue, doing that performance. And we all know that In Vogue has a sound. There is an In Vogue sound. And without talking about that, what I was saying to myself and asking myself, because this single, We a Powerful Thing, it has so much of In Vogue in it that I'm starting to ask myself, what has Rhona Bennett learned from In Vogue? And the first thing I would like to think is that Rhona Bennett has learned possibly. I think she's probably changed her, how I want to say it, her approach to, in how she interprets a song, maybe. You can't be around Terry Ellis and Cindy Herron and not have some kind of and those two ladies not rub off on you. And rub off on you in a good way, as far as I've always said, professional ladies, they've always been that way, as far as their performances are concerned, as far as, their image and things like that is concerned, and so I would like to think that Rhona learned some things about harmonizing, right? But if you look at it, you can also say, well, she was a part of the all-new Mickey Mouse Club, and she definitely had to, learn how to work in a group setting and vocalize that way. But again, I came across Rhona singing Tony Braxton's "Breathe Again." And I'm thinking about that when she was on the show, the Mickey Mouse Club. And when I saw the clip, I also thought again about this question that I'm asking about her, how she harmonizes with the ladies, how her harmonies fit in with the ladies, what she learned about harmonizing with the ladies of In Vogue, Terry Ellis and Cindy Herron. I would like to think that, you guys, that she's learned something, because I don't know if she has another single out and, as a member of In Vogue, then I would like to know what that single is, if it's one out there, to see if my question is a valid question, because, as I said before, In Vogue is in this single. And I have to say, after listening to her debut album, all right, this single is by far my favorite single from all of the material that Rhona has released thus far. And I know that I probably haven't heard all of her songs, but just based off the album. But then again, I haven't heard I haven't heard the album, The Anticipation of R&B, but it's unreleased. So that would be the first thing. Rhona, how have you vocalized? How are you vocalizing now? How are you approaching a song? After working with In Vogue in the studio, right? Uh how has things changed from you, approaching music? The other thing that I thought about when I was listening to Rhona's single, Love, We a Powerful Thing, and listening to her debut album, Rhona, on Dark Child, I listened to, I remember, well, having the Soulflower album and having the Electric Cafe album. I'm saying to myself now, I was like, wait a minute, hold on for a second. You mean to tell me we've missed something when it comes to Rona? I mean, Rona is all up in those albums, Soulflower and Electric Cafe. Oh, yes, it is, ladies and gentlemen. I know you guys probably don't want to give the Diva the credit, out there, but you have to. If you haven't listened to those her album and then those albums by In Vogue, Soulflower and Electric Cafe, and really gave it the attention, not like I used to do. Back in the day, I was one of those who would listen to an album and I'm just listening to it for the hits. I just want to find my favorite songs on the album and listen to those, and I want to see the songs go up the chart and all of that stuff, right? But Rona is definitely there. Rona is all up in those albums, and even though she didn't write a lot on the album, okay, especially Soulflower. I don't know. Did she write it all on the Soulflower album? I think she co-wrote "Losing My Mind," right? She did that. And I think she probably did some things on Electric Cafe, didn't she? But there's a sound on Electric Cafe that I think captures Rhona Bennett's self-titled album, Rhona. And she's definitely in it. Like, and I'm going to discuss the album. Yes, I'm going to discuss the um her album, but what I'm trying to do at this moment in time is that I'm trying to give you guys a lesson in Rhona Bennett as far as who she is. And yes, she did contribute to Blue Skies, Deja Vu, uh Electric Cafe, Life, Love the Way, and also So Serious. So she's definitely writing on the Electric Cafe album. Of course, her vocals and everything, she's definitely, singing, it's her singing on these albums, okay, on these songs. So here's what, after doing this now for about 23 minutes in, let us kind of go back a little bit and just kind of make sure that I am on track for what it is that I'm discussing. And what I'm discussing is that Rhona Bennett is so much more than we're giving her credit for. She is. And I think it's time for us to give her that credit. And I think that the people who are not giving her the credit that she deserves and the standing ovation that she deserves are the people who probably haven't went back and looked at some of the things she's done. I think what we're doing is that we're looking at her from a place of, well, she is a part of this iconic group. And because she's a part of this iconic group, and it became an iconic group, very quickly, very quickly. By the time the second album was released and we get into that third single, it was over with. With Free Your Mind, it was it, right? With the Funky Divas album, when we got to Free Your Mind, it was everything was sealed, right? And so we're looking at her from that perspective. And I know it's kind of hard for us to do that. It's hard for us to do that. But if we're not going to go back and look at who Rhona Bennett is, then I don't think that you have anything to stand on as far as your criticism of Rhona Bennett. At this moment in time, there's nothing to criticize any longer. And if you are someone, and I want to, really and truly be honest and be fair, but if you are someone say, oh, that was just the all new Mickey Mouse Club. Well, you don't say that about Justin Bieber. Oh, Lord have mercy. Why is Justin Bieber on my mind? Maybe I need to do a video. I'm sorry, I didn't say Justin Bieber. I meant Justin Timberlake. Oh, Lord, I must be tired. Oh, gosh, yeah. Anyway. But we don't, though, right? We embrace them. Okay? We embrace them, right? Hold on. Yeah, we embrace them. We embrace those Mouseketeers, right? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm looking at something. Mm. But we embrace them. We really do. Like we don't shun other people. We don't. We don't shun other people. We don't shun Britney Spears. We don't look down at Britney Spears like, oh, Britney Spears, we embrace them, right? We embrace them. We embrace the other people who have pretty much benefited from, the Mickey Mouse Club. But when it comes to Rhona Bennett, we just look down like, oh, it's just Mickey Mouse Club. Like, do you not know how big that was? Even for me back in the day, what is it? Now it's time to say goodbye. MICKEYMOUSE. Right? Like, I would wake up every morning, weekends to watch the Mickey Mouse Club. So don't come to me with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't come to me with that any longer. That, oh, well, it was just a Mickey Mouse Club. Oh, that was nothing. See, don't do the diva like that anymore. It's pretty much what I'm saying. Right? Oh, she just did a little bit of Jamie Foxx show. Come on. Oh, she just did a little bit of Homeboys in Outer Space. Oh, she's just a Zeta Phi Beta. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, you guys. Like, it's enough of that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, she worked with Rodney Jerkins, but the album just didn't do. Like, I think at this moment in time, we have to stop it. Is what I'm saying. Well, child. All right. So now we're 30 minutes into the video. And now we're about to talk about Rhona Bennett and the album. So I went back to listen to this album. I tried to listen to it once before. I never got around to listen to it in its entirety. And I listened to the album today. And I realized why I didn't get through the album the first time. And the reason I didn't get through the album the first time, and I guess this is be the part for Rodney Jerkins, since I said, get Rodney Jerkins on the phone. I have to just say this, and I know we all got to do this. We got to soften the blow, right? We have to soften the blow. Because sometimes, you just never know, how people, I guess, take things. But this is not a diss at all. But still, I never cared for the Rodney Jerkins sound. I just never did. It wasn't a sound that I could get into. It's more like, and I have to be honest, like the Missy Elliott and Timberlake sound. Couldn't get into it. Still can't get into it. There are some songs, there are some hits and misses with me, but I can't get into it. Couldn't get into the Pharrell sound. I couldn't get into um as I said, the dark child. Definitely can't get into, the music and the sound of today. I just can't. It's not a diss. It's just it wasn't, it isn't my thing. Whew. So that's the first reason why I couldn't get through the album. The first time. So this time I listened to the album, and I must say there are definitely some must-haves must-have singles on this album, her debut album, Rhona. And now I'm about to ask some tough questions now. All right, let me get situated. Let me get situated. Woo, here we go. When Rhona came out with her debut album, I think she has some advantages and she has some disadvantages. Well, what would be the advantage? The advantage would be that she's working with Rodney Jerkins, right? That's an advantage. I mean, he's definitely Rodney Jerkins. He's definitely working with a lot of artists at this time, right? And hold on, you guys. He's definitely working with a lot of artists, okay? And he's working with some divas, all right? I'm looking for something and I hope I can find it. And it looks as if Rodney Jerkins, uh, if Rhona Bennett album comes out in 2001, right? The advantage for Rhona Bennett would be that she's working with Rodney Jerkins. Rodney Jerkins, the Dark Child sound. In 2001. Well, for Rodney, though, by the time he gets to 2001, Rodney Jerkins has worked with some divas. I mean, some divas. Aaliyah, Brandy, Monica, Whitney Houston, Destiny Child, Jennifer Lopez, Shantae Moore, Toni Braxton, the Spice Girls, Britney Spears, Jessica Simpson. Do you see where I'm going? He's working with these divas. Or he has worked with these divas. And so now all of a sudden Rhona Bennett shows up. And it looked like it should be a promising career for Rhona Bennett, shouldn't it? I guess we could say I am back in my mood of making of an R&B diva. So we could say this is the making of an R&B diva. Yeah, I like when I do those. So we're talking about the making of an R&B diva. Excuse me. And so from the looks of it, you should say to yourself, like, this is going to be good, right? Because we're talking about Rodney Jerkins, who's worked with Aaliyah, Brandy, Monica, Whitney, Destiny's Child, or we could say Beyonce, Shantae Moore, Jennifer Lopez, Toni Braxton, the Spice Girls, and now all of a sudden, Rhona has shown up. He's worked with Britney Spears, Jessica Simpson. And it looks like, for the most part, he's working with these divas over and over and over again in a roundabout sort of way. And just like Tommy Mottola, who he had? He had Mariah Carey and Babyface and L.A. Reid and Babyface. They have Toni Braxton. Then you got your Celine Dion, right? You have, well, no, I'm not going to call her name. But anyway. So do you see what I'm saying? Whitney Houston. Clive Davis has Whitney Houston. And it looks as if, right, it's safe to say that Rodney Jerkins could have Rhona Bennett. And you can just possibly imagine what that is like at the time and what is going on, with Rodney Jerkins. I could see Rodney Jerkins saying, hey, I have this new diva, you know, like she done did this, and, this is going to be good, you know. I got this sound. This sound is out. It's working for all these other R&B divas. So there's no doubt about it that it's going to work for Rhona Bennett. But then what we have here is that these songs, well, the divas that I just brought up, for the most part, I like those songs. I like Angel of Mine. I like The Boy Is Mine. I like It's Not Right, but It's Okay. I like Say My Name. I like these songs. Oh, I love Michael Jackson's You Rock My World. Oh, gosh, I love that song. But isn't it safe to say for the most part, and this is just me, but isn't it safe to say for the most part that these are already established divas for the most part? Isn't it safe to say? They are established. We're liking this sound. For the most part, it seems to be working. But then Rodney takes this sound and he gives it to Rhona Bennett. That's probably a good thing, but it also could be a not so good thing. Well, what do you mean, Pep? Well, when I listen to Rhona's album, and this is going to sound like a diss, but it's not. But when I listen to this album, and when I think about the divas that are out at the time, and they are definitely having success with this sound, is this an approach that you want to give to your new diva? Do you want to? Now, and if you do that, then you better come with a whole hunk of change. Yeah, that's right, I said it. A whole hunk of change. Because you're competing now with these divas. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of backing behind these divas. And I just don't know if anyone took that approach with Rodney Jerkins and Rhona Bennett. I just don't know. But I have a different theory. My theory is this. When I hear the album, Rhona's album, and I think this is the perfect time to talk about the songs on the album. So let's do that. I don't know if I listened to the songs in its order on, the album, but we're going to discuss. I got 11 tracks, 11 songs. So if I missed a song, I apologize. But when I listened to the song, the album, the first song I heard was Meaning of Love. And I don't know why, but I was instantly thinking, this is Toni Braxton. Listening to the song Meaning of Love. I thought of Toni Braxton. I said, well, This is Tony Braxton, but it also could be Brandy. But listening to The Meaning of Love, I thought about something else too. I thought about Electric Cafe, the album Electric Cafe, and how this song could be on that album, Electric Cafe, which makes me think now, how much influence did Rhona Bennett have in the making of that album? You know, or could it be that the producers of the album, Electric Cafe, went back and listened to some of the things that Rhona had done to kind of give Rhona, some comfortability, with the making of that album? I would just like to think so. I mean, you would do your homework, wouldn't you? So I would like to think that that's what it was. And Meaning of Love is very much typical. It's a typical song of the time. And then the next song I heard was Time Will Tell. I like it. It keeps the momentum going, and it sounds like it's a very youthful song to me. And again, I'm saying this is Brandy. And then listening to Time Will Tell, I'm saying to myself, like, okay, it's a youthful sound. I like it. Makes you feel good. It's more of Brandy. And now I'm saying, why didn't this album hit? And so immediately in my mind, listening to it, I said, got to be record company politics. The next song, Look to the Sky. Oh my gosh. Look to the Sky. I love it. And I thought about In Vogue's songs, Blue Eyes in Eyes, Blue Skies in Eyes of a Child. And then I realized this is when I realized that Rhona, she may have been a perfect fit for In Vogue. Like, I can see why Rhona is in Vogue. Because I could listen to this song, Look to the Skies, like in the morning or on my way to the office or listening to it in the office. I can definitely do that. And In Vogue always have, I guess, what you want to call a message song in their on their albums, like Part of Me, Free Your Mind, Eyes of a Child, Blue Skies, so on and so forth. The next single, Missed Away. I'm instantly thinking Jennifer Lopez, and it's my favorite song on the album, Missed Away. The next song, Last Goodbye. I hear the song Last Goodbye, and guess what I'm thinking? Deborah Cox. And when I hear this song, I like it so much so. But at this time, I'm not really getting into this song because the question is in my head. Like, it's in my head. And I'm saying, who is Rhona Bennett? Who is she? Who is Rhona Bennett? The making of an R&B diva. Oh, but we're about to get into some good stuff. I Will. I Will is a ballad, and this is when I realize who Rhona Bennett is. And this is the reason why I feel as if we are definitely, we are, I was about to say another word, an inappropriate word. We are messing on Rhona Bennett. How about that way? When I realize this, because I'm saying to myself after listening to I Will, I'm like, that's who the Rhona, we need a power ballad. I need a power ballad. That's just what it is. And that's when I'm thinking about saying to myself, like, Rhona Bennett needs the Whitney Houston touch. This should have been the first released to give her her own identity. And I think that that's the difference between all of the R&B divas that was happening at the time, right? Think about it. The R&B divas that are out at the time, Rodney Jerkins is working with Rhona Bennett. I feel as if what Rodney Jerkins probably did, and it's with all due respect, you can't knock it. If it's working for these divas, if it's working for these divas, then I know I have a sure thing with Rhona Bennett and working with her. This is going to hit. But guess what? A person such as myself, and I'm listening to it. And guess what I am thinking when I'm listening to Rhona Bennett, this album? I'm saying, I've heard this before. This artist is new. And this artist is jumping on the bandwagon, right? I'm thinking that Rhona is jumping on the bandwagon of these other R&B divas out at the time who are established. And that she doesn't have an identity. Because if you look at it, you remember what I told you guys? I said previously, I said, I don't like this Rodney Jerkins sound like that. But I like these songs. Some of the songs in Rodney Jerkins' catalog, I am so loving and I'm digging, right? So for a person such as me, I give you a prime example. Whitney Houston, diehard Whitney Houston fan. I love all of Whitney Houston's. I love her catalog. You have some people out there who I've heard them say, "Oh, I don't like the pop Whitney. Like I listen to her I'm Your Baby Tonight in further down. Like I'm Your Baby Tonight, the Preacher's Wife soundtrack, the Bodyguard. You know, that's when I hear some people say that they started liking Whitney, but they didn't like Whitney with, her first two albums. Oh, I didn't like that stuff. I love it all. So when you get to an album such as My Love Is Your Love, me, I like Whitney so much that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's a decent album. I buy it. I don't have there's no really must-have songs on the album for me. I'm talking about the Whitney Houston album. But I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. You see where I'm going? So it was safe for this sound to be a good sound for these particular divas because they're already established. And so on the outside looking in, it looks as if they're freshening up their sound, they're giving themselves a new look, so on and so forth. But I think possibly what went wrong is a tried true method, I think, that works. And that tried true method pretty much is you can say what you want to say. But if you got one of those good ballads, you got one of those banging ballads with when the R&B diva or the pop diva is sewing throughout the song, you got yourself a sure win. I know back in the day, and I don't know if they had this approach at the time, when Rona was out, and they probably still do, is that people would say when it's hard to break a ballad, it costs a lot of money. To really and truly to promote a ballad. And I can understand that. And it doesn't take that much money to, promote an up-tempo, mid-tempo track. But I think that that's kind of like what happened with Rhona, is that she came out and the floodgates were already open to these other R&B divas. Is that, we probably looked at her like, yeah, she's trying to be like them. Okay. And then I get to the song, The Best of Me. And that's when I'm thinking, Whitney Houston, it's not right, but it's okay. The Best of Me. That's what it sounds like. Then I listened to, of course, Satisfied, and then The First Time. And when I hear the song the first time, this is when I say, welcome to Pop Diva. Welcome to Club Diva. This is my favorite song thus far. The first time, that's it. I like the first time. Then I like Take What Comes to You. And then when I get to the track, I want to know what love is. And to myself, I say to myself, see, Peppy, you good. You good. You good. Because when I hear this song, I want to know what love is. Rhona Bennett does exactly what I was saying that she needed to do. And I'm not sure why they chose Satisfied. And they didn't choose a song like I Want to Know What Love Is. Or they didn't choose a song like The First Time. So after listening to this album, listening to the song, I Want to Know What Love Is, I'm saying to myself, Rhona Bennett is definitely a diva. She's a diva. I mean, I can just see Rhona Bennett singing that song, seeing her, you know, with the band behind her and her background singers behind her, and her those long legs of hers, and she's in her gown that shows off those legs. You see what I'm saying? And she has the big hair, and she's just letting it rip. Do you see what I'm saying? The making of an R&B diva. I don't know, people. You tell me. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be right. I could be a little bit wrong and a little bit right. But I end by saying this lady has my total respect. She does, as of today. She does. She has it. And as I said before, I don't think that we have taken the time to really get to know who Rhona Bennett is. I will say this. I will say that Rhona Bennett, and I say this respectfully, I really and truly do. She was in the Mickey Mouse Club, right? And that's a group of people signed to Rodney Jerkins and found herself competing with other divas. Ooh, I never thought about this. She found herself competing with other divas, but the music that she was given was of the time, if that makes sense. And then she finds herself in and out of En Vogue, and then finally, she's kind of like got this long, stretch with En Vogue, this 12 consecutive years now. And yet, in the midst of all of that, you find yourself still asking the question, who is Rhona Bennett? I don't know if, she's been held back. And what I mean by that, I'm just talking about in general, because you have to be honest. We have to be honest. Let's just be honest. And we say this respectfully. You're in a group. So when you're in a group dynamic, and Rhona having worked, been a part of the Mickey Mouse Club, I think she probably understands working in a group, working with other singers and so on and so forth, knowing her place, what she needs to do, this, that, and the other. And maybe that's the reason why she doesn't book, as much as others. Maybe she's definitely, not only does she offer consistency, maybe she's a team player. But I just kind of know my spot, my place in the group. This is what I've been, asked to do, hired to do, so on and so forth. Okay, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, okay. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just what it is. So hopefully, with this single, we, a powerful thing, and Rona getting ready to promote this album, hopefully, we would get to see Rona Bennett. Hopefully. I definitely would like that. I'm looking forward to it because now where I am is that Rona is definitely just becoming a favorite diva of mine. Just in general, not an in vogue diva, anything like that. Like I'm finally at a place in my life, and it's a shame. It took so long, but people need to kind of check you out and see what you're all about before they just try to, make assumptions about you. Don't know who you are. And I'm talking about now as an artist. I still get this feeling that people have not given her, the recognition that she deserved, and I think, sometimes you got to take that. You have to say, wait a minute, hold on. I can't allow people to, speak on my name or speak about, my accomplishments, at all. you know, take control of the story, take control of the narrative is basically, I guess, what I'm saying. We have to do that sometime. So it's been an hour, and I think it's a perfect place to stop. And we're talking about Rhona Bennett now. Yeah, yeah. Well, tell me what you think. On that note, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you made it to this part of the video, then I think it's only appropriate for me to say, hey, hit that subscribe button, that like button, that share button. I really and truly do appreciate it. I really and truly do. I obviously I couldn't do this. I couldn't expand without you. I put it that way. Yeah, I could do this without you, but I definitely could not reach as many people as I've reached without your help. So I really and truly want to say thank you, and I appreciate you guys out there for that. And also, my motto over here is simple. It's very simple. Put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. I look forward to seeing you next video. And until then, you guys know what to do. Take care of yourselves. All right.